wanna start the podcast a little different today.
Ooh.
Okay.
I have tingles.
I saw a tweet today that really just tickled me, and I wanted to share it with you. So we're gonna get into this topic in a second, but
We're just rolling.
I love me a
Rocking and
cold
rolling.
open.
Wait. Can we start this podcast like John? Welcome to Immature.
Whatever this is.
Welcome to pooping stuff.
Sorry, John. I love you.
This is a tweet from Eddie Burback, who says, "Pro Jared looks like that kid in elementary school that would pop his double jointed elbow when no one asked him to." Tickled me all morning. I couldn't wait to share that on the podcast. Wanted to get that out of the way. My name is Eric.
I'm Kelly.
And I am Mark.
And welcome to the Immature Hour number. Who gives a frick? I lost count.
The
It's
Immature
number-
Hour
it's
number
the-
Pro Jared.
Yeah.
It's number 4 from the Welcome Back series.
The reboot.
Part 2.
Yeah, first
Which I'm really happy because Hot Shots Part 2 is on IMDb. It's a little streaming service, so I'll be watching that later.
It just makes me think of I don't know if you guys remember VH1 used to do the I Love the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And then they ran through it and then they still had more stuff to do, so they were like, I love the 90s, part 2.
I miss when VH1 talked about music.
I miss VH1.
I miss whenever the M and MTV actually meant music on the television.
Yeah, it was a simpler time. However,
So I'm sure you guys have figured out we're talking about Pro Jared today.
yeah, this has been a very fascinating week for gaming community. So I don't know how much you two know about the Pro Jared thing.
I don't know
only know a
anything.
little. Yeah.
I watched it like a hawk all week.
I know
I was
you did.
super curious about it. Every now and then, a topic or like a controversy happens, and I get weirdly, incredibly fixated on it.
Same.
And for some reason, something about this Pro Jared thing was like, I was hooked as soon as I heard about it. So
I think if I wasn't so incredibly bogged down at work, I would have done the same thing. I would have been just obsessed. But I was so busy at work, I couldn't keep up with it. So can you tell us who Pro Jared is? Because I'm not super familiar.
Yes, please. I have no idea who that is.
So Pro Jared is a YouTuber who does a lot of gaming stuff. He does Let's Plays. He does some D&D stuff now. He was in the gaming group Normal Boots, which used to consist of JonTron, Peanut Butter Gamer, The Completionist, like that group of people.
Never heard of him. Just kidding.
So Pro Jared was part of that group. So what had happened was
See, what happened was...
So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. So somebody a couple months ago on Reddit noticed that on the Game Grumps YouTube channel, all the episodes that ever had Pro Jared in it, whether it was like a table flip episode or a Grumpcade episode with Pro Jared in it, don't exist anymore. And somebody was like, well, I wonder what's up with that. This was a couple months ago.
Ross
So-
is like, grr, beep, delete.
Sometime last week, I think about 5 days ago, Pro Jared got on Twitter and posted a statement saying that him and his wife were going to be getting a divorce.
But he tried to play it off as though it was like mutual.
Yeah,
right?
it was like a mutual thing.
Yeah.
And then he continued on. He said a couple other things, but he continued on. The main thing that he said was, you may start to hear some rumors and speculation about what's going on. All that I ask is that you come to your own conclusion about things. And he's like, I hope that we walk out of this with style and grace. And so that was the gist of the message. Well,
that sounds, if I can interject real
Yeah, of
quick.
course.
When you say put your own interpretation to it,
Yes.
and people start doing that, you're going to be like, oh, what the fuck did that dude do?
Well, then you start digging into it.
Oh, yeah.
Like when somebody's like, just please respect our privacy, and you're like, fuck that.
it's just like when you look at it, it's just like Yeah, you may hear something weird. Just make your own your own
Come to your conclusions
about what's going
Remember,
on.
my name's Pro Jared, not Anti Jared. Remember, guys.
So, obviously people were a little like, well, that's kind of odd.
Yeah.
Shortly after, his wife Heidi got on Twitter and said, I don't know what announcement my husband just made because he blocked me on Twitter. Then she put out another tweet right after saying, I found out that Jared has been fucking Holly Conrad behind my back.
So for those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
Holly Conrad was married to Ross from Game Grumps.
Mm-hmm.
He was their editor.
See, I always wanted Ross and
I don't
Rachel
think she
to
was
end
an
up
editor.
I don't know what. I feel so terrible because I love Game Grumps, but I'm not 100% sure what Ross does. All I know is that he's Australian.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Holly. Yeah, Ross.
Ross.
Ross did. Ross used to do Steam Train with Danny.
Right, right.
I think he did some editing stuff. Right now, he's doing an animation called Gameoverse. That's his big thing that he's working on right now. But he's mainly known for doing Game Grumps stuff. And yeah, he used to be married to Holly.
And he and Holly divorced.
Yes.
God,
So,
it was almost
in October or something like that.
okay, yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
So, obviously, so Heidi goes on this. She's like, she has a bunch of like proof and evidence that she saw like explicit like messages between the two, like like dirty photos, shit like that.
As you do.
Yeah, and so she said like that's what's going on, and then Holly, Holly acted like she's like, oh, if you wanna believe some stranger.
Yeah, that was like the only thing that I saw from Holly was a lot of I don't want to say deflecting because that wasn't necessarily it, but it was almost like she was sort of acting like nothing. She wouldn't address it directly from what I saw because I went and looked at her Twitter and she was basically like, I'm going to leave social media for a little while. I need to take care of myself, practice self-care. That's very important. And her and her friends, she posted pictures of like her and her friends together or whatever. And that, from what I saw, I don't know if you saw more afterwards, but I only checked the one day, and it was basically her just being like, I'm going to take care of myself, and then nothing more.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I'm kind of like skipping back and forth on things because I'm just remembering certain bits. But the original post that Jared posted, she was the top comment. Holly,
of course,
was the top comment saying, "I'm so sorry you're going through this. Let me know if you need anything."
Wait a minute. Whoa, what?
Yeah. So Jared's first tweet about the divorce thing, Holly, the girl he was cheating with,
That he
was the top comment. It was her saying, "I'm so sorry you're going through this. Let me know if I'm here if you need anything."
That was her being like, no one knows it's me.
Yeah.
And now everyone knows it's
now
her.
everyone knows. So yeah, okay, so from here, okay, Jared cheated on his wife. Already pretty shitty, right?
That's pretty terrible.
All of a sudden,
Narrator, but it gets worse.
it does. All of a sudden, it came out of the woodwork that he was sending nudes to fans. Like wee out, like nude
Dick pics.
Dick
Send
pics.
dick pics.
You
Yeah.
just say dick pics.
Yeah,
Why'd you
yeah.
just say wee wee out?
Wee. I don't know. Wee makes me laugh.
Because
so.
our fans have virgin ears.
Yeah. He had a Tumblr a while back that started off as like a joke thing. It was just send nudes. People actually sent nudes. Apparently, and this is actually confirmed by Heidi. Heidi approved of it. She thought it was a way for him to...
Wait, his wife?
His wife
Was
approved
okay.
of him sending nudes back. She thought it was like a body positive thing for him to
God.
do. Me personally, I don't get this kind of thing. However,
Dude,
if
Megan said that to me, I'd be like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah, she wasn't like super thrilled about it, but she let him do it.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if John came home and was like, hey, for the good of the channel, and I'd be like, fine.
Free the Tatas.
I guess I'm never gonna meet any of these people.
Um,
Tits out.
However, those pictures got put up online. So for like a solid 3 hours, just incredibly lewd photos of.
Man.
Of
I mean, did you?
it's
did you
pretty.
did you check it out?
Oh, it's pretty hefty.
I need to look I missed that because I have this strange you have your obsession with whenever a scandal breaks. Mine is with celebrity nudes. I need to know what they look like. I don't care who it is.
I
need
agree.
to know.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
agree with that.
So yeah, there's a handful of, and then there's text conversations, saved Snapchat text conversations between him and the fans and stuff, being sexual and shit. It's really gross. My personal favorite is a picture of him in a Sailor Moon outfit, and he's making a sexy face. He's leaned back and his skirt is covering his junk. It's really funny.
You sure it's funny? The eyes you just gave me said, "Ooh yeah."
Anyways, it gets worse because eventually a person on Twitter by the name of Chai spoke up and
The tea.
yes,
It's Indian
and
for
spoke
tea.
up and admitted that he had sent sexual pictures to Chai while they were underage. So she was underage. She was transgender or something. It was before she is a he now. But at the
she's female
time,
to male.
yeah.
Okay.
So but at the time she was female. She sent him a breast photo, and she told him I'm 16. You're not getting anything more than this.
Yeah.
But she knew it was a bad decision on her part. However, Jared continued that conversation
Oof.
and kept going with it. So we got him cheating on his wife. Dick pics everywhere.
And then it's also up in the air as to whether Holly and Ross were still married,
So yeah,
right?
no one buys the. I don't know. You remember the tweet, right? That Ross put out about them splitting. He was
Yeah.
she wanted to go to a place with trees.
Yeah. We were devastated as a channel because we
remember-
loved Ross and Holly together, and it's just one of those things where we started noticing. It was right around the time when Ninja Sex Party got big, and we had just come back. They had just played around here, and we went to see them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they played on Conan, and I remember seeing the pictures of them in LA.
LA.
Was it LA or was it New York? Conan, I think it's New York.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely New York.
New York. I saw the pictures of all of them in New York, and it was, Danny and Ninja Brian, and then Ross was there, and there were no pictures of Holly. And I started to realize that I hadn't seen pictures of Holly in quite some time. And then it was shortly after that they made the announcement that they were separating. And I wasn't sure if they were married or if they were just dating.
Yeah, they were married.
And so, but we all went to Pops. Remember, we were at Pops and we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about Twitter and stuff. And I was like, man, did you guys see this? They're splitting up. And it was weird. We took it personally. They were our friends.
Well, we also, one thing I remember this very clearly. I don't know if it was you or me or both of us, but one of us mentioned how it seemed odd.
Yeah.
It didn't, we had a feeling that it wasn't mutual.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, we don't know these people's lives at the end of the day. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But something about the tweet, his tweet and then her tweet seemed like they didn't match up. It seemed like something was...
That's what it was. He was very upset. He seemed broken up about it, and she did not.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying, one of them is moving on. One of them, I didn't want to say cheated necessarily, but it did feel very much like she was done. And she was the one that was moving on. Because when she moved and she took all of her stupid birds and she moved to Oregon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was post after post about how happy she was and how free she felt. And she was in the wilderness and with her birds. And it was okay, I think you made this decision. This wasn't a mutual decision. I remember thinking that she made the decision to leave. So now I think maybe we have a little more clarity into that decision.
I'm just going to say, this sounds exactly like the Friends Ross. and Rachel thing.
I never
So like
watched
that's the
Friends,
only
is it?
thing going through my head is I
on a
keep
break.
wanting to say where's Chandler and all this. But
To wrap this whole topic up, because I'm not a huge fan of all the like stupid drama shit. Like I said, I found this really interesting. I mean, within a day, I think he lost about 70,000 subscribers.
Yeah, Eric was like keeping up with it, and he was in chat, and he was like, "Oh my god, he's down to this and down to that," and like I'm watching it fall.
Well, my favorite comment on his like his latest YouTube video was, "Congrats on the 900,000 subs. Been here since a million."
Oh, that's the best.
It's so funny.
So my question in all of this, and this is for all of us, you know, even including Mark, who's not really well versed in what's going on. What do you think? And I'm not talking about Pro Jared just in general, but in this situation and with his popularity, do you think that he'll come back from this?
No.
No. You don't
No.
think that the fans will forgive him?
No, I think he'll never be back to. I don't think he'll, for sure, 100%, he will never get back to the status that he was before this happened. You look at, for instance, the Toby Turner thing that happened.
Oh God!
All
yeah.
of that
He
was
never
just,
came back from
all of that was purely word of mouth. Nothing was ever proven.
Yeah.
And he got fucked over so hard about that. He's never come back from that, and it sucks. Like,
Oh, I
he
fucking love Tobuscus.
and like I watched. He did like a Me Too video like
He did.
a few months
Yeah.
ago, and it's really interesting to watch. And you
It
can
was
tell he's
heartbreaking.
bitter. Like, he's so bitter
Yeah.
about it because he didn't do anything. Like, yeah, he may have made like shitty decisions in his life, but
And
it
maybe
was
he
never
did
the
do coke.
yeah. But like some of the things, the allegations
Who
that
hasn't?
people said, some of the allegations that people said weren't entirely true, and he lost so much because of it.
Yeah.
And with this case, with Jared,
There is proof.
there is proof. There's like hard proof that some of these things happen, like the worst things happened, you know?
Yeah.
And so, will he come back from this? God, no. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some kind of criminal punishment for it. Like, you can't.
I'm sure there will be an investigation.
Yeah,
there probably is already one of those going on. I mean, it all comes down. I mean, my viewpoint on all this kind of stuff is like I don't know the dude. I'm not in his life. That's his life for him to figure out. He did some shitty stuff. Probably should go to jail for it.
But I guess that like when you're in the public view like that, you know, like on any level, you know, if it had been any of us in that situation, like it would have been like, all right, well, you got to go. You know, we're like tiny YouTube, but it doesn't matter because we're in the public eye, and like that's just like, not to mention I would be super disappointed if anyone in our channel,
Well, yeah.
if we found out that anybody in our channel was like awful like that.
Yeah.
But like I mean, he's out there like big time, and people recognize him.
when
They
you're out in the
recognize
spotlight
Holly.
like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I recently started running my own business, and I started freaking out after I was on the news in town with half a shirt on riding a scooter down the
Should've
street.
flipped inside out. That was your decision.
That was my decision, and I
Just
did
like
that.
it was Pro Jared's decision. Like, let's be real.
And then like I sat there and I was like, oh, nobody watches that news channel anyway. And then all of a sudden I get a text message from my sister. Hey, were
Was
you
that
just
you?
on the news? Being you. Like she knew it was me being me.
that
Yeah,
video
no.
is priceless.
Can you recover? Yes. Will it take a lot to do it? Yes. Does he have the money to recover? No.
So we have two conflicting opinions here. So Eric says no, Mark says yes, and I guess really only the test of time will tell. Like, we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see what happens.
Like, I was watching Philip DeFranco before you guys got here, and they were talking about like some makeup guy who's like 19 years
James
old.
Charles.
Yes,
James Charles and the James Charles Tala thing going on right now, and he
And it's
lost
so
like
petty.
9 million subscribers in the course of a week.
Yeah.
And I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, man.
Well, apparently he was catfishing straight dudes. That was the
Yeah,
deal
he was
with that.
catfishing straight. He wasn't just catfishing straight dudes. He was like straight up trying to convince straight guys to go gay for one night for him.
Yeah, he was like
Yeah,
catfishing. It was like somebody's boyfriend. Was it her boyfriend? I don't know.
Oh,
YouTube is full of drama
isn't-
right
this
now.
isn't for
this
us.
has nothing to do with us. I don't follow any of that shit.
The only reason I just found it interesting that Philip DeFranco just decided to go for like 14 minutes on this topic, and I'm like, okay, we're going here
Good on
today.
you, Phil.
Okay, Phil.
I mean, it's a big deal in the YouTube community.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, for bigger YouTubers, they all, like, know each other. You know, they're all in this weird group. But,
Yeah, I'm new to this whole YouTube phenomenon.
Welcome to
You
the-
crazy kids
welcome
are
to the
talking
clique.
about.
man, I remember when YouTube was new and it was like music videos and people doing weird shit. And that was all YouTube was.
I remember when it took an hour to upload a 30-second video.
Good times.
But yeah, so I think we'll just keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like he's going to have his supporters that are going to come running to his side. They're going to fix it, take care of it. They're going to support him no matter what. Even if it does come out that this was happening, they're going to be like, well, she started it. You know, that kind of thing.
I can see that. Like they have the whole R. Kelly thing.
Yeah.
R. Kelly still had fans.
And like...
Drip, drip, drip.
But
pee on you.
I do think that there's going to be a mega backlash. Well, there has been a mega backlash, but I think it's going to continue. And I do think that Eric is correct in saying, in giving the Tobuscus / Toby Turner example, because he never bounced back from that.
No.
I was a huge Tobuscus fan. Like, I would have given anything to meet him. I thought that he was
Same.
just fucking amazing.
He's the whole reason I got into YouTube stuff in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one year for our GameStop conference, he used to do the openings for, like, or he used to do the songs for Ubisoft.
Oh, yeah.
And so
the literal videos.
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
And he did Assassin's Creed. And so, like, I always loved those videos. And then one day I was at work and it came on the TV, one of his literal videos. And, like, it was so funny. It's not a coconut. No, that's a head. And, like, it was great. And, like, we got to conference that year and he did the introduction. Like, there was this video that he did and it was on the big screen. He did the introduction for Assassin's Creed. And my friend Jamie and I were sitting next to each other and we were both huge Tobuscus fans. And we were like, oh my God, he's here. Oh my God, he's going to come out. He's going to come out. And, like, we were, like, flipping the fuck out. And he never came out. He only did the video. And we were just like, no! But we waited, man. We waited. So when all that news broke, like, I remember he was posting, like, nonstop. Twitter, Facebook, everything. Like, constantly. YouTube. He always had something going. And it's gotten to the point now where yesterday, so it's funny that you mentioned that, because yesterday he posted a video on YouTube and I went, huh, where's he been? So, like, legit, I think that you may be right and that may be what happens here in this situation. I do have one more thing, though, to say about the topic, and it goes back to chai.
TT.
Remember, kids, when you go to Starbucks, when you go to your local coffee or tea place, don't order chai tea. Chai is Indian for tea. Also, don't order a chai tea latte.
TT.
Don't order a chai tea latte with milk because latte means milk. Just order a chai latte.
I didn't know this.
Or you can order a TT latte.
You can order a TT milk latte.
A titty
TT.
milk.
And the barista will just be like,
That's
actually, it
in the
hurts.
packed house fridge. We have TT latte.
Do we?
No.
It like hurts my heart whenever a barista was like, you want the chai tea? And I'm like, "Bleh." You should know better.
I don't know if it feels so good. There was one more. There was one other topic for sure that I wanted to talk about. So all three of us watched the fantastic documentary Raising Kratos.
I'm so excited to talk about this.
Oh God, that documentary freaking! I cried at the end of that so hard.
I think you mean Oh God of War.
Oh boy.
Jazz hands.
I
Atreus.
I had watched it over like the span of 2 days, like in between work calls. I would go home and watch what I could of it. Holy, that's easily like the best making of game documentary I've ever seen.
I saw one. There's one that I've seen similar to it for the game Broken Age. I think the name of the game was. They did a like 180 part docu-series on YouTube of the making of the game because they crowdfunded it. And so like they wanted to show all the backers everything they did.
Broken Age is the point and click, right? Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I sat and I watched it, and man, they're just, I had no idea the amount of like it shows like when you play the game, but like seeing it unfold, you don't realize the amount of hard work and passion that was put into that game. Like,
before we get started on it though, because I'm so excited to talk about it for real. It's, if you go to YouTube, search, what's it called?
Raising Kratos.
Raising Kratos.
It was put out by PlayStation.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour documentary about the making of it.
Yeah,
it's
so
got like,
I think whether you're a fan of the game, I've never played it. I've watched snippets of John playing it. I know very little about the game itself, which is crazy because I think that the God of War franchise is fantastic, but I've never played it myself. I've only ever watched other people play it. So this is one of those things where if you like video games in general, watch it because it shows it's so much more than the game itself. And there's really no spoilers, but it talks about like the time and the passion and the excitement that goes into making a game, but also in the disappointment and the nervousness that goes into it.
One of the things I appreciated the most about Cory Barlog, who directed the game, is
it's his second God of War game. Too.
Yes, he directed God of War 2 previously. The one thing he brings up a lot during the documentary about being doubtful about things. But I really appreciate the fact that like no matter how much he doubted about whatever he was doing, he still went through with it, and it paid off like so well. Like there's the scene where he's sitting at the in the boardroom and they're talking about he's like, it's not gonna fade to black, right? Because he wanted the game to be a one shot,
so, yeah,
like the entire time, like the camera follows, there's no cuts. And the guy's like, he's like, we're gonna try to, and Corey's just like, okay, good, so we're not gonna fade the black. Like, he stuck to his guns, like for everything that he wanted, he made sure it was in it. And
he really, yeah, and that's the thing. He really stuck to his guns. I thought it was interesting how at the beginning they said it was originally supposed to be in the desert, like they're gonna keep it in the desert, and then like they decided like almost a year after already being creative to switch it to Norse mythology, which I thought was intriguing.
Like, how are we gonna do that?
I want to go on record and say that God of War, like this God of War game, is the greatest. Like, I want to say it's the greatest revival of a game franchise since Zelda's switch from 2D to 3D. I think that for me, I feel like that's a pretty solid statement to make. Not since Zelda going from 2D to like Ocarina of Time.
I was gonna say maybe like Metal Gear from Nintendo to PlayStation, but
I can see that too. Yeah. But just, it's such a big risk that they took.
Oh, it was huge risks. Definitely going like completely away from like the blood and guts slash 'em that freaking God of War was to like this very, very character driven narrative.
Yeah, and they took. I mean, God of War was presumably dead for a while. Like, I mean, people enjoy the series as a whole, but after Ascension came out, people were like, I mean, it's just more of the same. Like, we're moving on to, people don't want this anymore. And so the fact that they were able to go, okay, what can we do to make this, more modern and more engaging for people? and do it as big as they did is just freaking fantastic. I got goosebumps when they're showing off and they're
E3.
talking about
E3?
the E3 2016
God,
reveal.
with the freaking whole symphony there playing it.
Yeah.
And the thing is doing the live demo, but doing a live demo with the symphony playing the live music that's going on in the game. I got chills right now. Just thinking about
like, did y'all actually watch that E3 like live when it was going on?
That was
It
2016.
was 2016.
I was drunk somewhere.
I don't think I did. I think I was working for Play. No, not yet. I was still working for the moving company then, so no, I don't think I got to watch that E3 that year. But like I've been to E3, and that feeling between E3 and like the GameStop manager conferences, that feeling like being in the room when a game is showed off for the first time and you're with 1,000+ people who are seeing this for the first time, whether they're a fan of the game series or not, there is no feeling in the world like that. Just excitement. There's a literal buzz in the room. Like you can't. It's just like every hair on your body just stands on end, and you like it will almost bring you to tears, because there have been times where certain games have been shown off for the first time at a GameStop conference, because a lot of times they'll talk about it at E3, but they'll hold off for the GameStop conference, and then they will actually show gameplay, or they'll actually show cutscenes, and you're seeing it. It's an exclusive in that moment, and like, man, just the sound of the crowd, the stadium just going wild is ridiculous. It's like nothing. I hope that one day we all get to experience it.
Yeah, that's the dream, huh?
Ladies and gentlemen in the comment section, send us to E3.
Send us to E3 if you love us. Send us
If you have the
passes.
power in you.
That's why I want our Patreon so bad. Like, send us
Donate.
money so we can go to E3. But I think I don't know. I know that they just reopened E3 back to the public, but I don't know if they've opened the conferences back to the public. I know that like the floor is open, you can go play the demos and stuff now, but I'm not 100% sure on the conference. When I got my tickets, it was through GameStop, and they allowed us to go into Nintendo's conference, and that was the only one that we got passes to, and that was the year that they formally introduced, like the year before they had hinted at the Wii U, that year it was there, and it was actually there for you to look at, for you to hold, and it was the first time that they had like actually showed it on the stage, so we got to see that firsthand, and that was very cool. Nintendo's Buzz is cool, like Nintendo's
Treehouse.
demonstration. Yeah, like it's all right. I mean, it's Nintendo. You know you're gonna get a Mario. You know you're gonna get like there's certain things you know
45
you're gonna
minutes
get.
of Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
E3's weird anyways now this year, because like PlayStation's not even going to be there.
Yeah.
Square Enix is filling in that spot.
Which
That's going
is
to be weird.
Crazy, because like, I mean, like, what did E3 ever do to you?
But yeah, like I remember I always watch E3 every year with my best friend, and I remember when like Kratos' face shows up like from the darkness, and you see his beard and everything. We're like, what the fuck? Like we were losing our shits.
Just like everybody in the documentary. Yeah.
And like as soon as they showed the gameplay, and like you could tell like the style of it was different and everything, I was like, this is gonna end up being game of the year when it comes out. Like I just knew. But yeah, getting to see that clip again was like super. It gave me a whole bunch of goosebumps.
Well, so the funny thing is whenever I watched it, I had to like I paused it for a second after they had the end of the demo when you see the dragonfly.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was having to remember for a second. I was like, wait, do they have dragons in God of War?
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, you had the 4 secret, like you had like
the
3 or
dragon
4
side
like
quest.
side quest.
I
felt like
plus you fight one.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that scene, and then the scene where Christopher Judge, the guy who voices Kratos,
The guy from Stargate.
yeah, the guy from Stargate, he's doing the scene where he gets the Blades of Chaos,
Oh,
and
dude,
Athena
the
shows up.
feels.
Ooh.
Feels.
He
lost
watching
it.
him he went somewhere, and I wish they would have kept that take. I really do. I get why they didn't, but that's not the actual take that they use in the final product. I don't know if you noticed that.
How do you know?
Because I looked it up.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Mr. Research.
Yeah,
doing his research.
I do my research for these podcasts.
Nerd.
Sometimes
Nerd.
if I care enough.
It's like you care.
Yeah. Watching him when he's like, I know, and the tear rolls, I was like, oh
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
I felt it so much. Him saying, it's this game is a love letter to his kids,
Yeah.
and also an apology for
Yeah.
not being there for 10 years.
He was
It's
doing the interview and he had to stop for a second while doing it.
He wasn't okay until his kids were like, no, we totally understand. If that was my dad, I would just be like, my dad's Kratos. I wouldn't be mad, but I guess as a parent you don't see that. You just see all the stuff that you're missing to where your kids are like, my dad is fucking Kratos. That's amazing. And I felt bad for the one woman who couldn't even talk about her situation, when they were
when
they were like, how's everything going, and you've got the one woman who's like, well, I have a family that's very supportive, you could tell that they didn't want to answer it, because one was having a really good time and one was having a really bad time, and I think they each knew that, and the one having a good time didn't want to make the other woman feel bad, but she ended up saying, everything is great. My husband is super supportive. I have a fantastic family. And then the other woman was like, I'm not going to answer that.
I can't answer that question right now.
Yeah.
And it's I can about imagine that could happen. 5 years, I think it said. 5 years to make the game.
Wow. I didn't realize. I must have missed
5
that. I
years.
didn't realize it took that long.
I appreciated how real they kept it. It wasn't like sunshine and rainbows for some bits of it. It was very much these are some hardships that we had to deal with during the making.
Oh yeah,
of this.
whenever they would have those cutaways of board scenes and then pretty much yelling at each other. I'm like, yeah.
Well, in the very beginning,
that's how that gets.
When in the very beginning, when they're so excited because they're getting this new office,
and then the layoffs,
and then all the layoffs come, and then they had this I don't know about you guys, but I'm super disappointed that game didn't make it. It'll never
that game
see
looked
the
that
light
game
of
looked
day.
interesting.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know they were working on a new IP.
But when they started talking about the layoffs, and then you see that and they had some hype for that new office, the lunch boxes and everything, and and then you see that they don't leave their office, and I was like, oof.
Yeah.
In fact, we fired half the staff. And now everybody has to go work on God of War 8 months early.
And then they had to delay the game's release. Where
but they were like, woo!
Yeah, where he's saying there are over 3,000 bugs in our game right now. We're supposed to be at 0 at this point. You're just this game's already out. It exists. We've all played it. And I'm just oh God, how are they going to finish this?
Yeah.
But, no, was there anything else anybody wanted to add about it?
I guess for me in that whole documentary, it was cool seeing the process, everything, the breakdowns of how they did the fighting system and everything. One of the first heads of combat fighting for that.
Oh yeah,
brand
it was female.
was
Yeah,
female.
Oh yeah.
And then
cool.
How deep can your voice go?
And then for me, it was seeing the completion and seeing the surprised look on his face whenever they just released and he's about to open up and it's there and he loses it, and he kind of I guess I get that. I understand where his head was. I've never done anything that massive in my life. But whenever you send something off and you're really hoping it's a home run and you're not sure if it is or not, and you're just really worried, you can't sit there, and then finally you get that email in and you see this is one of the best things that's ever came out. And that wow, my heart and soul, because that story was him. Like, he was Kratos in that story of learning how to be a father and everything like that, because he just had a son and everything, you know, like the whole arc of Kratos he took with him as himself, you know, and seeing that people really loved what that was, and he getting that gratification for making a great story, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I think that was the most powerful part for me, was because watching it in retrospect, you know, is you're like, oh, well, the game was fantastic. Like, of course, you know, and it got all these perfect ratings. But you forget that at some point that game was never out. And at some point, the person who made it had to go and look at the reviews of what other people thought about it. Like, we just take for granted, oh, the reviews are out, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good game, cool. We didn't make it, you know? And so
A lot of
that
pressure.
you don't think about that fear and that pressure that the person who created it is feeling. And so to watch it and to watch him be so nervous to check the reviews on a game that we already know is great, but at the time they didn't know that. And like you said, you know, God of War had been dead for a little while, and so for them to resurrect it, there's got to be so many emotions. Like, will the fans accept it? You know, will it be as good as the other God of Wars? And you know, I've changed some things. Are the fans going to be okay with that? And so, like, watching him in what was his real time, waiting for them to load, and oh, it's not on the first page, so I've got to, you know, I'm waiting.
Stalling.
And like, then to see him read it, and it doesn't, you don't see anything, he doesn't say anything about it because he can't. Like, he just gets choked up, and he can't even say words. And that was so powerful, because like, that was his first experience with all of the perfect scores and all of that. And then, you know, it fades to black and they show you how many perfect scores it got and what its average rating was.
40.
And
40 perfect scores.
Yeah, and its average rating was like a 94.5.
Yeah.
You know,
Unbelievable.
and so like,
I was super happy. A side note, I was super happy that they all watched the Easy Allies review all together. Because I love Easy Allies so much. And they showed that, I was like, you guys know what's up.
but like, the only thing that I was disappointed in is, and I mean, I'm sure that they, you know, they finished it up, they wrapped it, and they put out the documentary or whatever. They took the time to edit it, but they didn't get it. You know, it won Game of the Year, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I thought so. But like, that wasn't, you know, they didn't go into that. They didn't show any of that. And
Well,
I
they
think
did.
that
Yeah,
was
they
did.
do right at the end.
Right
That's
at
the
the
very
end.
like, after the credits. That's the last thing
After
they
the
show,
credits,
yeah.
they show it's like
well, now I have to go rewatch it.
there's like in Game of the Year goes to God of War, and they go up, and
Spoilers.
the whole cast goes up.
It was a big surprise because all that night, I don't know if you watched
Red
the Game
Dead-
Awards.
Red Dead was
all
winning
night,
everything.
Yeah,
Red
yeah.
Dead won awards.
Which
Well, everybody thought it was
didn't
gonna be
even-
Red Dead.
I didn't even
Yeah.
really like that game.
Well, everybody thought it was going to be Red Dead, and then, like, because God of War came out before Red Dead, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And so then that was, like, a threat. I remember, like, when Red Dead came out, and I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, God of War was good, but
Yeah.
that
Red Dead was
though.
so slow.
And that might have been what did him in.
It was a slog fest. But yeah.
But
That
yeah,
documentary was awesome.
great documentary.
If you go, we'll put a link to the documentary because it is on YouTube, and guess what? It's for free. You don't have to have
Yeah,
a
no
premium.
Why don't you
YouTube
just watch it?
premium.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
just
you can
click
watch it. We'll put
Watch
a
it.
link to that in there.
And do make sure that you click on the full video, because they have it in clips too. So make sure that you click on the full one.
Yeah, it's like an
and-
hour and 48 minutes.
Something like that. And of course, if you're listening to this podcast on a different service and you can't see the links below, it's Raising Kratos on YouTube.
That makes me happy that you had to say that. I forgot we're on Spoofy now.
Yeah, I guess we can close out the last 10 minutes
Dang.
about some of the things we're up to. So we got 10 minutes left on this whole podcasty. I guess the 10 minutes left. You know, Packed House right now. You know, we're now on Spotify. We're now on iTunes.
Are we on iTunes now too?
Yep.
Yeah.
See how well I pay attention.
See, right. I've been doing some things.
Yeah.
I was arguing with Spotify for a little bit because they were like, "Oh, we can't put you in the search." I'm like, "No, mother sucker, you're going to put me in the search."
Mother sucker.
I wanted to say the F word.
I
but
did think it was weird though, because I tried to find our Spank and Jake podcast on Spotify, and I like Packed House didn't exist on Spotify, and I was like, well, I know it's there somewhere. Mm-hmm.
It took a week. It took a week for them to get their heads out of their asses and for the algorithm to fully scrub. And then I went through and I changed some of the image upload. That was like a little bit too heavy. Change that. And then you can only... So fun things. If you ever want to do a podcast and you're trying to link it to services, you can only have 42 characters as the title of it.
Huh. All right. Cool. So let's see what Game Grumps takes from this podcast.
For
their...
No.
We know you're listening.
People have been trying to like rope Game Grumps into the discussion, and I'm just like, you should probably leave them alone about it. Like,
you talking about Pro Jared?
Yeah. What were you talking about? I thought you were talking about the Pro Jared thing.
No, because they keep stealing shit from us.
Oh yeah.
We know it's true. We know you're listening. Blink once if you're listening.
Blink once.
Oh man, cool.
I was laughing because this morning I at the time of recording this, I was talking this morning about hearing a metal version of "Kiss from a Rose," and then their 10-minute power hour today literally has them singing "Kiss from a Rose."
The light that you shine can be seen.
It was really good too.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
But
I was scrolling through.
and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I was just talking about that this morning.
I was scrolling through like a minute ago, and I saw it, and it kind of made me laugh. And I was gonna be like, "Hey, Eric," and I was gonna play it, but you brought it up, so I got to do it anyway.
That works out.
I guess. What are you guys playing?
I keep.
What are you playing?
I keep taking breaks from Sekiro. I get a little bit further, and then I have to stop because my brain, like, it's so hard.
Since this is all, I'm twitching my eye. That game like infuriates me.
I love it, and it's such a freaking challenge. But that's what I've been playing: Sekiro and Apex Legends again. Doing that stream the other night got me back into Apex.
Oh no.
Yeah. I've been winning matches, boy.
One day I'll win one.
Yeah, one day. We'll get there.
I've been playing a whopping fucking nothing. Next.
What game is that?
Game of the Year edition.
Game of the Year edition.
Whopping
Well, I have been
fucking-
playing a Game of the Year edition of Borderlands. Been having a lot of fun with that.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah, it's my first time playing through the first one of Borderlands. I played through almost all of Borderlands 2. But I gotta say, I really, really enjoy it.
I like the classes in Borderlands 1 more than I like the classes in Borderlands 2.
I'd like to pick up Borderlands again. I started playing Borderlands. No one gave me the heads up that, like, you get demolished in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I got to a part, I was, like, torn apart by these dogs. And I was like, cool. That's it.
Well, on that note, perfect time to close out this podcast. But yeah, Pro Jared sucks. Check out Raising Kratos on YouTube. And
Check us out on YouTube.
Check us out on YouTube. We're D-ranked on Social Blade. When I was checking the sub rank, the sub count for Pro Jared, you go to socialblade.com is how you check all those stats and stuff.
Yeah.
I looked up us, we're like ranked D on YouTube.
At least
I was like,
we're not
yeah, we're not F.
That means that people watch us.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, thank you for listening to the Immature Hour podcast. My name's Eric.
I'm Kelly.
And I am Mark.
And we'll see you next time.
Later, bitches.